Welcome to the regularly scheduled public meeting of June 20th, 2022 of the Township of Washington Township Council. Adequate notice of the meeting was given in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by the Township Clerk to at least 2 newspapers in January, and this meeting has been posted on the Township Bulletin Board, the electronic message board, WCTV, and on the Township website. Please notify the municipal clerk for any disability requirements necessary for attendance at mayor and council meetings. The fire exits are located through the double doors to your right and through the door on your left. Please silence all cell phones. Salute to the flag.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which we stand, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sue, roll call.
Councilman Casio.
Present.
Councilwoman Feeney. Councilman Sears.
Here.
Councilwoman Velez.
Here.
Council President Morgan.
Here. Let the record reflect also in attendance Mayor Calamari, Township Attorney Poller, and Township Clerk Witkowski. Northwest Bergen Regional Health Commission is the township's local public health services health officer. Please visit their www.nwbrhc.org for all COVID-19 related updates, as well as information and contacts for other health-related issues. You can also sign up for their newsletter, which will keep you updated on various health-related topics. Satellite office and passport outreach services will be at Town Hall on Wednesday, June 22nd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Please visit the website for further information. Container mosquitoes are the #1 mosquito problem in Bergen County. Once a week, please empty, cover, or throw away items that hold water. For more information on mosquitoes and mosquito control, contact the Bergen County Mosquito Control Program at 201-634-2880. Swim Club bondholders may contact the Swim Club by email at wtswimclubnj@gmail.com. The Township of Washington Library Countdown to Summer Events. Field Station Dinosaurs, Wednesday, June 22nd at 4 p.m., ages 4 and up. Please register. Touch a Truck, Thursday, June 23rd at 9:30 a.m. Meet the trucks of the Township DPW and their friendly drivers. Climb, beep, and explore. No registration needed. Please call ahead if there is rain. All ages welcome. Summer Reading Kickoff on Friday, June 24th at 8:30 p.m. with an interactive showing of Finding Nemo. Bring chairs or blankets and bug spray. Popcorn will be provided. Please register. Please visit the library's website for further information and registration. Township offices will be closed on Monday, July 4th. I would just want to take a minute to, it's not on the PSA, but it's something that I feel we should acknowledge. I want to recognize the music department for Westwood Regional School District. I had the pleasure of watching their most recent competition. It was nothing short of amazing to see these kids who are, I just thought taking music class. I didn't realize how much they actually are learning. When I took music in school, it was choir, you sang. These children are unbelievable. The teachers are phenomenal. So some of the accolades, I reached out to the principal and I told them in all of the schools, basically just how proud and amazed I was as a parent chaperone, just to see the level of professionalism. They really pull it together, but the teachers are truly amazing. Like they're conducting in such a way that it's amazing that it's a middle school and a high school. But we hear so many things about our town schools. I think it's important when we do have something nice to share that we share it. So some of the things Principal Frank Connolly wrote was, "We are extremely proud of our music department at Westwood Regional High School. Mr. Pena and Mr. Fritz do an amazing job of bringing out the skills and talents of our amazing students. We've received Best Communities for Music Education Award for the 9th consecutive year." So 9 years they've been winning and just, making music. And I know my kids started very, very young with the recorder. I think it was second grade maybe or third grade. And I was amazed at the teaching at that time that the educator teaching had the patience to teach these children, what they did teach them. So I can go on and on. Some of the accolades were just across the board. Kudos to our town. It's something I'm very proud of. Our music department is really amazing. So I wanted to add that. Mr. Sears also shared with me that August 6th from 4 to 8, and I'll keep saying it at July's meeting as well. August 6th from 4 to 8, the Bethany Community Center has a summer bash, a meet and greet local responders, a live entertainment, family friendly, food, games, and fun. It's at Bethany Community Center. It is $7 for early registration, $10 at the door. It's free for kids under 3. So please come out and support that and meet your local responders. Okay. Before I move any further, Mr. Mayor, did you want to?
Yes, please. Good evening, everyone. Just a quick PSA of my own. It's with regret that I accepted Administrator Tovo's resignation as administrator from the town. He has an opportunity to do something in the private sector that he would like to try. So it's not like he's going to another town. He's going into the private sector. So I hope you all join me in wishing him well. And we'll be starting the search for a new administrator later in this week. So thank you.
Okay, we don't have any approval of minutes, so we're going to move to general public comment. Limit 5 minutes per speaker. To participate in the general public comment portion of the meeting, please click on the link below to join the webinar. If by phone, *9 to raise your hand, *6 to unmute. Each person wishing to address the council shall give his or her name and home address for the record. And we ask that only one person speak at a time with a 5-minute limit. Speakers are to direct all questions to the council president. When the speaker is finished with questions or statements, the council will respond. All members of the public and council are expected to conduct themselves in a proper manner. Any derogatory, abusive, or threatening statements will not be permitted, and the council president will immediately rule such conduct out of order and terminate any further comments. Motion to open public comment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Is there anyone that would like to come up? Is there anyone online?
Not yet.
Julianne Lipnick, 184 Finity Place. Council President Morgan, I thank you for that comment about the music department, because I am proud to say my son is part of that. He is one of the teachers. So
Well,
thank you very much, and I will pass it on. And chances are that he taught your children the recorder.
George School.
Washington.
Okay, we're,
Washington and George.
okay, then he probably did.
There you go.
Well, thank you.
You're quite welcome. My first comment is one that's not such great news, in that I don't know if the library staff has brought to your attention the fact that the library building has been vandalized. I am assuming that it happened sometime last week. I sit regularly on my front porch, and my husband and I noticed it. It looked like an optical illusion, but from afar you can read it. If you go up close, you can't really make out what it says. It's not fit for public. I couldn't even tell you what it said. It's embarrassing that this is what our youth has now come to. We brought it to the attention of the library staff. I spoke to them this afternoon. They said that there are cameras. They're going to review the cameras, but I want to bring it to your attention so that you stay on top of it, because with all the work that the DPW has done and Isley's has done, that place is impeccable. I had a friend come this weekend and stay with us, and she just moved to New Jersey from New York. She could not believe how beautiful that spot is with benches and the umbrellas and all. And now to see this graffiti, it is downright disgusting. So that's the bad news. The other part is, I know with all the rising costs of gasoline, I mean, it's prohibitive, diesel on top of everything. I've been reading a lot of economic magazines and articles, and the last one I read, which is really frightening, says that across the country, even here on the East Coast, where, some of the states are very affluent, what they're forced now to do is limit 911 calls. They're just going out for calls that are life and death, and anything else is being talked through on the phone. So my question for you is, how solid are we? Are we affected by this at all? And I would certainly hate to hear that 911 calls are being missed because of gasoline prices, and 911, all the EMS can't go out. So that's my one question. Are we solid? There was another article that caught my attention, and it was published on May 16th by NewJersey.com. Was rather disturbed by it because it addressed New Jersey's surpluses. Several legislators on both sides of the aisle have petitioned the governor to give back to the taxpayers some of the money. It appears that currently the state surplus consists of $7 billion, with a B, $7 billion in unbudgeted over collections. Then there's another $3 billion in federal grants. And on top of that, $3 billion in federal coronavirus relief money that is yet to be allocated. So just there's $13 billion sitting in the state of New Jersey surplus. The record reported months ago that the Township of Washington, from the state to the county level, was to receive about $950,000 in coronavirus relief.
35 seconds, Mrs. Lipnick.
Okay, my question is, have we received that yet? And if we have, what are we using it for? So that is basically what I have for you tonight. I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, library being vandalized. Is that on the police radar? Are they familiar?
Mrs. Lipnick, she said she let the library director know about it because, as she said, it's kind of hard to distinguish what it is. So it is on their radar now. And as soon as they heard, they called me about it. The library director called me.
Okay.
So DPW is working on cleaning it up, and the police are doing what they can from camera footage. I'm sorry to hear that that's happening anywhere because of fuel prices with 911. No one has brought that to my attention yet. If and when they do, we will find the money. There's no way we're limiting our calls because of fuel prices. State surplus, 13 billion is a big number. It would be nice to see them distribute it to the municipalities or directly to the taxpayers. The 950,000, I think, the administrator would know better if he were here. I think we got half last year and half this year, or half this year and half next year. We can spend it, again, if memory serves correctly, things like stormwater management, broadband things, but there's a list, and so I will get it and have it for the next meeting as to what can and can't be spent.
And as far as the billion of unbudgeted money, I think that we have a pretty, we can definitely call Senator Schapese and find out, is this correct? Are these numbers correct? And what pressures are being made to make sure that we do receive it back, our due, costs that we're supposed to get back. So I will try to give her a call tomorrow morning, and then if you want, I can email you the response, and then I'll follow it up with in the next meeting, a follow-up to that. Yeah. Okay. Anyone from the council want to add anything else?
On the vandalism, a couple of weeks ago, the men's room down at the Memorial Field was set on fire. The fire department had to respond there. There's no cameras in that area. The two sheds at the far end of the field were vandalized. We have to do something before the summer and the school lets out. I mean, we got to get cameras up there. If it wasn't for a coach that happened to be at the field at the time to see the smoke coming out of the men's room, the fire could have been worse. So we really need to step up the pressure, get more cameras.
So my question then is, are those bathrooms on like a timer when the park closes, the bathrooms close as well?
Right.
So this happened during
During the day.
Oh my goodness, during the day.
Yeah, it was like 4 o'clock, wasn't it, Tom, in the afternoon? Yeah.
Okay. So how do we move forward with getting cameras on there? What do we have to do?
I'm checking because I believe that's part of what we can spend this $950,000 on. So I'll have an answer by the next meeting also.
And not just there, maybe, are we
Oh,
to do it like in all of the
of cour-
public parks? and-
Of course,
Okay,
yes.
Right, okay, great. Anyone else like to come up?
Desiree, I'd just like to comment on
Oh,
the
sorry.
on the surplus
Go ahead. Mhm.
that New Jersey has. Thank you for bringing that to my attention, or our attention, I should say. And government shouldn't run huge surpluses because they're not in the business of making money and holding other people's money. And that goes for all government, whether it's the federal government, state government, county government, or local government. Okay, you run a small overhead to keep, a little extra for a rainy day, but you shouldn't be collecting that much money and holding on to it. If that's the case, we got problems with lawmakers, and those lawmakers should be booted from office. So we're running a lean machine because you work for that money, you deserve that money in your pocket to buy whatever you want, an extra pizza a week or whatever it may be. It shouldn't be in the government's hands. It should be in the people's hands, and that's my statement.
Mr. Conti.
Anthony Conti, 490 Ridgewood Boulevard North. So last meeting, we discovered that the broken window at Bethany was $2,500. Council President Morgan said that Administrator Tovo was going to get her the information where the rest of the money went. You said you were going to send me something. I'm assuming you didn't get anything from Mr. Tovo. So what I would hope is that somebody else will pick up the ball and find out, because I asked for all the information. There was nothing else. So I don't know where $5,500 went if the window was only $2,500. So I would like to know who I should contact, being that I already Oprah requested all this and I should have received all the information and did not, according to Mr. Tovo. Also regarding Mr. Tovo, now that he's retiring or leaving or whatever he's doing, I called him 2 months ago. 2 months ago, I called him and had a question for him. Didn't call me back, so I got in touch with Council President Morgan. And I asked her to contact him, and she assured me she sent him an email asking him to get in touch with me. He never did. Now, this is 2 months. This is the town administrator. I hope whoever you choose as a council next will have the common courtesy to contact a resident when they call with a question, whether they like the question or not, because it was regarding the swim club. So I'm assuming that he didn't like the question. Also, it was brought to my attention that he came to work at 10 and left at 1 most days, if not all days. I was wondering how many people, and I'm assuming again that he's working remotely. And I was wondering how many people in town who work in the building are still working remotely. I mean, that excuse is long gone about working remotely. So I don't know if it's a policy, if it's not a policy, if it's something that you're going to hold on to, but I'd like to know how many people are still working remotely now that COVID is pretty much slowed down. Also, the CFO, do they ever come to the office? I have not yet met, seen, or even know if it's male or female, the CFO. Also, you've had multiple meetings with budget, and never would they attend a meeting. The last thing I have is the swim club. Are we going to do anything about the mosquito control? I was at the gate, which is firmly locked, and the guardhouse is full of trash. The mosquitoes I was attacked by. Now, I understand there's wetlands behind there, so I understand there's a mosquito problem, but putting all that equipment there that's filling up with water, and you could say it's not, you could say whatever, but it's going to hold water. That's what equipment does. Bucket loaders, dump trucks, garbage trucks, plows, it all holds water. That breeds mosquitoes. So when I walked over to look, it was a disaster. Also, I noticed that there was some sort of meeting going on there. I don't know if it was Saturday or Sunday. I think it was Saturday. I think I saw the mayor there with a police escort and some other people, a van full of people. I was curious to know what was going on there, but with the police escort, it was apparent the mayor didn't want any residents coming up to him and asking him any questions. So basically, that is all I have for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so just to answer a couple of those, I absolutely contacted Mr. Tovo multiple times, and I think the mayor can attest to that because I CC the mayor on my correspondences. And I did not know if he had reached out to you, but I definitely encouraged him to and asked him to. So hopefully the mayor can let you know that I did send that email. I always CC. I know. I just want you to know. And I am sorry because the administrator, anybody up here who you email, anyone, whether we agree with what you're asking or find value, don't find value, whatever it is our job and our responsibility to answer back in a timely manner. So I do always follow up. Anytime somebody responds to me, I forward it. And I think everybody up here can tell you, I'll say, can you please let me know when you've responded to this resident? Because I think it's really important to answer them back. So yeah, I don't know that we're going to be part of the interview process for the administrator, but I will definitely make it known to that person, whoever that is, that those are my expectations. I absolutely will continue to put pressure to talk to the community when a resident does email, because that's what we're up here for. Otherwise, you could be talking to a machine. The other thing is I still want to know about the $5,500. I did ask for that and I didn't get a response. But now that Mr. Tovo's gone, Mr. Mayor, is there someone in interim that would have that information, that will have access to whatever it was he had access to get us that information?
You want me to respond individually? Because I can answer.
Sure, perfect. Then we'll do it after.
Okay.
And then I don't know who the CFO is. I've personally not met them either. I know the name. I understand that it's a part-time position. And that is something that I think we will, talk about further for how the proceedings go for the budget next year. I think that there is a place at the table for the CFO for some of the meetings at least. But that, again, that is something that warrants further discussion. How many people are working remotely? That I definitely want to know. So maybe the mayor can shine some light on that. And if so, if there are people working remotely, why? We're all living with COVID now, so that's just something we have to learn how to navigate. A meeting at the swim club, I know nothing about. So I guess I'm going to have to defer these questions to Mr. Mayor. Yeah, that's all of them.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I think I got most of your things written down. The Bethany thing, the administrator, we're doing a turnover, so he turned that over to me on Thursday or Friday. I asked purchasing today to please pull whatever we have on it so I could review it and get back to you on what we have on that. Remote workers, I don't know if it ever it was my desire to have people continue to work remotely 1 or 2 days a month, just to make sure we have the capability, that we don't lose the capability, God forbid. We have to live through what we lived through again. So we want to make sure we're not losing any technical capability. So I expect people to work remote 1 or 2 days a month, just to make sure that, that works in case we have to go back to it. The CFO is a living, breathing person. He works in the office 2 to 3 days a week, depending on what's going on at that particular time. Swim club with mosquitoes. I asked the DPW as soon as we took possession to get the Bergen County Mosquito Commission in there to spray. I'll follow up. I don't know if it actually happened or not. I will relay your concern about standing water and like that, and get them to put that on a schedule to make sure that there's no standing water. The Saturday meeting, I was not there because we were given less than 24 hours notice on it. It was people from the Bergen County Open Space wanted to tour the property, having to do with the grant. And so I understand that's something they do, but they reached out to us, I want to say around 2 or 3 o'clock Friday afternoon, saying they wanted to get there at 11:15 on Saturday. So yeah, I was surprised they work Saturdays and like that. I was not there. I had a previous engagement, given such short notice that I could not change. I think I answered all of your questions. Thank you.
Can
Yeah.
I just follow up on a couple of them?
Sure.
That's awesome news about the open space grant.
Yeah. Mhm.
Will it hurt us at all that no one was there to kind of speak to it, or?
The grant writer was there,
Oh,
and he knew, he knows what we're doing there, what we're looking to do. So yes, he was there.
Okay, great.
Mhm.
They didn't give any indication whether it looks like we're going to receive.
I don't want to get anyone's hopes up or down, so I'd
Okay.
rather not say.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to take that as it's a good indication. And then how are we keeping track of the people who are working 1 to 2 days per month? Only because, in my industry, I've had the displeasure of having a couple people take advantage of working from home. For various reasons. Some of them don't want to come in because during COVID, they lost either their car or their sitter or whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
And then a discussion is had that maybe this is no longer the right fit or the right time for them to have this position because it's not a remote position. So I just want to know what safeguards are around that, thank you for bringing that up, because a resident in town asked me what our new town hours are. And I said, what do you mean new town hours?
Yeah. Mhm.
Apparently there were times when they come here and then people aren't in the office. And
Okay.
so they asked, do we have summer hours? And so,
We converted the summer hours to permanent a while ago, which is some departments stay open late one evening during the week, and then they leave early one day during the week to make up for that. But that hasn't changed
all
since
right.
we've been back from COVID, for sure.
But is there someone in the building then, like policing that they're here?
To tell you the truth, I would have to check with the administrator on that and see
Okay.
what he had in place, if anything.
Is it a punch in? Like, is it a punch clock?
No, we don't punch in here, no.
Okay.
Can we start punching in?
That's an accountability thing. They still very much used.
I'm not a fan of it. I like to think we have all honest employees, but I will look into it.
Okay. And the mosquitoes, I know when I went to the swim club, I was there for 5 minutes and I came out covered in mosquito bites. There were more no-see-ums and mosquitoes, I guess, because it's wetland back there, but, and there's a lot of leaves. So does that get blown or picked up at all around the perimeter area? No. Okay. Okay, so that's probably a problem. What do we do?
Okay.
Can we put it on the DPW? Is that would be the
Yeah,
DPW?
correct.
Take care of it?
Mhm,
Okay. So yeah, that was what it was. It was a sunny day. It was wet.
Mhm.
And there were just those, like, from my knees down were covered. So that would be great
Okay.
if we could do that.
Mhm.
Anyone else want to add anything, or anyone from the council want to discuss any of the questions that were asked? No? Okay. Anyone else that'd like to come up? You can come up.
Mary Osmond, 960 Adams Place. I had asked a lot of questions in reference to the salary ordinance, and I didn't get any answers back. Not one. I asked 14 questions. I was promised that somebody would text me. I said, email me, I don't care, call me. I didn't get anything back. And they were just normal questions. So I'm still waiting. We talked about people going into work. The planning board and zoning board are still not in person. And I think that's wrong. You want to sit there and go to this meeting and you want to ask questions and see what people are, and you can't do it. And this has been going on now for what, 2 years? This is ridiculous. I mean, really ridiculous. And again, we will go back to a dialogue situation. For 28 years, there was a dialogue between the people on the dais and the residents. Please think about it, because this is ridiculous. Only when there's a real bad issue does this come to play, where there's a problem with, the dialogue back and forth. That's the only time. It's normally I have a few questions, you answer them, we're finished. But you have a very difficult time answering questions. I proved it. I asked you 14 questions. I didn't receive even one back. And as I say, Ms. Feeney said, we answered, we worked on that, with the budget. Well, then you should have the answers right in your hand. You should have gone home, looking at your face, okay, Mrs. Ogba asked this, it's over. But it didn't happen. The dialogue is bad. I'm sorry. Bentley National Bank, I heard, is moving their headquarters from Wayne to Morristown. In the interim, I heard rumors, it's all rumors, that this place would be up for sale. Has anybody heard that rumor? It's a rumor I've heard, and as I say, especially when I saw that it's going to Morristown. I have one thing here, that resolution we're calling for the reform of Oprah. I understand that resolution very well. I was actually part of when they did the clerks that did their first main resolution on Oprah. And it's very good, I read the whole thing, and it's a very good resolution, except I have 4 questions of which I'm sure the clerk would probably be able to answer. One of the questions is, it requires an official Oprah request form. I'm not quite sure if it's a resident, they say, this is my Oprah request, is which rule that it is. That's a little harsh now to say it has to be on a certain form and a certain, kind of hard. On number 14, it said exempt property owner names and reaffirm the exemption of property record cards. Isn't it the law that once a year at least, people can go into the assessor's office and look at all property cards? So saying this is an exemption, I'm not quite sure. And the last one is something I know Sue has to answer. It says, provide a carve out for fee shifting where municipality, I don't understand that at all. It's a very good resolution. It's something that the clerks need. Being a clerk, I know how hard it is to be a clerk and to have Oprah. When I was a clerk, it first came out, and that was the hardest thing a clerk had to do. It was very, very difficult. I, again, go back to police department. The Red House, Haskell's house is up for sale, buy it. Put a police department there. We have 10 police cars were out there tonight, 10. I don't understand why. There were 8 in the back, which are just cars usually not used that much. 2 are in the front, and there was 1 in the lot. I'm hoping there were 2 out on the road. We have an awful lot of police cars, and to just leave them in here, put them down, I know Mr. Conti, but if they're just sitting there and not, you're not opening them up and, turning them on, and that's pretty hard. It's a really hard situation when you have that many police cars. Okay, thank you. As I say,
Thank
so
you.
you could have answered my questions and this would have been over. But now you haven't, and, angry that you didn't get back to me.
So I will just tell you that I'm definitely going to take it into consideration tonight for the next meeting, and I will try anything. If it doesn't work, we'll go back, but it's worth giving it a shot and seeing if it works. So I'm not opposed to trying to do it that way. So hang on just 2 seconds.
You want to do it now?
Yeah.
You have to make a motion to suspend the rules, be announced, let them vote on it.
Okay.
Here's the thing. It's not just yours.
Right.
You want to look at
Okay. All right. So I do want to answer your question first before we move forward, but correct me if I'm wrong, Mayor. I thought you and I had spoken, and I thought you tried to answer as many of the questions Mrs. Osmond had asked. Did you?
The administrator and I were working on that, and obviously, as I said, he gave me his resignation. I will have my part answered for you by our next council meeting. There are some in there that apply to the council also. They weren't all of the administration.
Okay.
So I'll be happy, Desiree, to work with you so we can get Mrs. Osmond a complete set of answers to her questions.
Okay. So, Mrs. Osmond, I apologize. I was under the impression that the mayor was answering your questions.
President, you were the ones that answered them.
Well, I was actually deferring the questions to where they went, but hang on. That being said, it's fine. I didn't answer it. I thought when I had the conversation that the mayor had said that he was going to answer them, so I didn't want to repeat or answer them incorrectly. The zoning board and the planning board not being in person, I was not aware of that they were still not in person. I thought Mrs. Feeney said the other night she was at the planning board.
Remotely.
Oh, remotely.
And again, Ken,
They are independent
Yeah.
boards. They make their own decisions. The council does not control
yes.
whether a board meets in person or not. If you read the material that the clerk sent out about meetings that are not in person, the state permits it. And we're here, so we've decided to come back. But you do not have any vote on how the planning board operates or how the zoning board operates.
So I know we don't have a vote, but can we make a recommendation or have a conversation, especially since one of us is on those boards? Can't we make the recommendation?
You can make a recommendation. You just
To
can't-
say
can't-
the
I'm
public
just saying
would prefer,
you just can't force them.
right, 2 of us are on that board. Okay. All right. So I'm going to ask the representatives on that board if you would just bring back the message that the town and the residents would like it to be back in person. I really can't stand meetings online. That's me personally. Everyone moved to Zoom, even in my organization. I just think it's just the easy way out, but I'm just going to leave it there. I did not hear about any Valley National Bank rumor that they're selling. I've heard just, over the last year or so, because I use Valley, they don't need this big building. It's such a huge building. So I don't know if it's just assumption or if there's any truth. Maybe someone else heard. Feel free to chime in.
I have not heard anything.
You have not heard?
I actually heard the opposite. They were moving one of their departments over to the bank. That's why the construction is going on over there.
Okay.
That's correct. I can speak a little more about that.
Okay.
I'll speak, in general
Okay.
of the other things also.
Okay, and then as far as the Oprah resolution, I did have those same questions, and I asked Mr. Collar about them, right? It's a directive that's coming, everyone has to adhere to this Oprah change, right? Or this, wasn't that?
Was it a resolution of what they want to change, Sue?
Recommendation.
As Mrs. Osmond has said for years, Oprah has just it's evolved, it has become very time consuming, very, very, very time consuming. We're all in for transparency, but some of the things that are asked for and what we have to go through to get some of the work with going into archives or waiting for somebody to get back to us is very time consuming. So we've been, as clerks, trying to find a better way to fine tune it and have the legislation here, what we have to go through You know, it's not always me, but, you know, there is a lot of extra, along with all the other duties that we do during the day. Just trying to get it up to the top, so somebody listens.
So this wasn't you, this was
No,
Bergen
this came down,
County,
this
right?
came down from the Bergen County
Okay.
League of Municipalities. This was not something we
Okay,
started.
okay,
It came
Okay.
from Bergen County, yes.
okay,
And asked for support, and all the clerks have been putting it through the last month or so, getting it approved.
okay. So before anyone else answers, I just want to, and then you can answer them, and I'm saying this for a reason, in case Mrs. Osmond feels that she wants to come back and answer anything. I would like to motion to suspend the rules of how I was going to conduct open public session part of it, right? This is, okay. So I'd like to motion to suspend that because I think that I would like to start tonight, since we're early on in the open session, to have that dialogue. So can I have a motion? Do you guys, because it's not just my,
Until further notice,
till further notice.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Can we do a roll call or all in favor?
Roll call.
Okay. So roll call.
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez,
Yes.
Council President Morgan.
Yes. Okay. So you're welcome. You're welcome. You're very welcome. Would you like to come out and ask any other questions? I don't know. Okay. All right. Is there anyone else that would like to come up? Come on up.
Desiree?
Oh, yes. I'm
Go ahead.
sorry. And then I'm so sorry. I did promise. Mr. Durso, hang on 2 seconds. I did promise you could respond to the questions. Go ahead. Go
You want
ahead.
to go, Peter?
No, no, no.
The only thing I want to mention was, we can't force the planning board or zoning board to do anything because they're independent bodies, but I wish they would go back in person because, you know, it affords them the public the opportunity to see what's going on, which I think is important with all transparency. And regarding transparency, I understand the clerks, you know, have a very tough job fulfilling their Oprah and OMA obligations. But I am of the opinion that if it's a record held by a municipality, county government, state government, federal government, we're entitled to it. And I know it's difficult. People ask for things all the time, but I think it's a duty that the clerks and government has to make all records available to anyone who asks. I know it's time consuming. I understand some is frivolous, as we know, but I think for the frivolous stuff, there's a need to have open records on everyone, and that's my comment on that.
Can I follow up with a question on that? Is it possible to hire somebody specifically for that if it is as time consuming as they say it is?
To have the
That-
Oprah
that
request sent?
Manages Oprah,
Well, the clerk
Clerk's
is
in
the-
charge.
Well, also the clerk is the custodian, so
so.
unless you're talking about somebody gathering the stuff and then giving it to the clerk, because the
But
clerk,
basically that is,
that's what she does.
yeah, it is. And it's, you have to understand that when an open request comes in, I don't go into the administrative department, go into the building department, go into the zoning department, open the drawer, pulling things out. Like I said, have to depend on other people, which again, and I agree with Councilman Casio. I'm all for transparency. If I have it, a lot of you that have dealt with me, if I have it and you can have it, it's yours. I don't like holding on to anything because there's one more thing just kind of hanging. But it is a procedure, and I know at times people get frustrated because they feel like it should come back sooner. Sometimes we need a little bit more because there's a little bit more digging, or somebody is out sick, or someone is on vacation. I don't physically go into their drawers and open up and pull it out. So would it be nice to have somebody else? Yes, Councilwoman Velez, but I don't know if it's really, this is something that we all go through. Sometimes it's as easy as a PRC card, as a record card, or it's as intense as going backward into records 20 years ago and current staff trying to figure out what previous staff did with it. So it's, you know, it depends. So,
That's why it's also important that everybody's back in the building.
well, yes, it is, because when things are asked for, it's a matter, well, I have to wait until tomorrow until somebody comes in. And when they
Right.
come in, they're doing their regular routine or phone calls or
Or
emails
following up
whatever
from the
they
day
do.
that they weren't
Exactly,
working
you're
back in the
absolutely
building,
right,
and
yes.
it's a follow-up. We all know when we go on vacation
Yes.
at work, you come back the next day, it's a waste because you're catching up on what you were there
And you're
for.
lucky if you catch up that whole day. But yeah, no, I mean, you
So,
know,
but that was my idea, my
if we were a
suggestion
much
to
bigger
help
town,
relieve.
yeah,
So
it's,
much.
for the training I would have to go through with somebody Cornelia and I or well
Okay.
greased, it's just, you know, just so you know that it is time consuming. And sometimes,
And I
If
know
it's
you probably have a
overboard-
lot of other things that
what we
are.
do over 600 Oprahs a year. It's not just a nickel and dime thing. And when we do have to do extra research and I do have to do a service fee for it, I do sit down and write a letter saying this is going to cost you X amount of money because it will cost take this many hours. Most people have come back and done. So there are some mechanisms, but, we get through it.
All right.
We just ask the public to be patient, and if, we need an extra day or so, please don't get angry. We're doing the best we can.
One
Thank
more
you.
question, I'm sorry. Is there a town where they do have an assistant that just runs Oprah requests?
For much
Probably
larger
larger
towns.
ones.
Much
Yeah.
larger?
Yeah.
Okay.
Much larger cities and that stuff, yes. Yes, they do. I'll cry out for when I need it, though. Thank you.
Mayor, did you want to comment on some of the?
Just on the Valley things, I've heard that rumor, but it's just a rumor in my opinion. No one from Valley has ever come to me one way or the other. However, they did come to me right before COVID, saying that they were going to move a department or two out of their headquarters to here. Then COVID happened, and they said all those departments, for the most part, went remote. Now that we're getting back to post-COVID, they came to me and said they're putting that plan into effect. As Councilman Sears said, they're doing a lot of construction in the building. It's plus or minus about 50 people that will be there on a daily basis. And I think I said in a recent monthly report, I look forward to them coming because it'll help our vendors in the shopping center. I assume they'll go there to eat, to shop. So I see it as a positive. And I wrote the CEO of the bank a thank you letter for placing his people in our town. So that's what I have to add on the Valley situation.
That's great. Thank you. Okay, so Mr. Durso, you were going to come up.
Hi, Joe Durso, 12 Viola Terrace. Thank you. It's one of my topics about open dialogue. Ms. Osmond's right. I was involved for 4 years. You, Steve, and people do want to get a chance to speak and have open dialogue, and it's appreciated. I get people get aggravated. I get you get aggravated, but
Mr. Durso, excuse me, can you just talk up a smidge or?
There you go.
oh, okay.
Thank you.
I've been known to be loud, so I just all right. I'll
A
talk
little
loud.
louder. Thank you.
So, yes, thank you very much. I get it. You guys, people can go on to midnight sometimes, and I know you all have lives. So, thank you. And if people come up here with like one or two questions and then stop and then hear your dialogue, I know that 5-minute clock's ticking, but thank you for doing that. Yes, Pete, I ran into Pete also, and he heard the same rumor. I have the most to lose with that bank, and thank you for moving all the trucks out of there. It's appreciated. But yeah, I see a lot of action going on at the bank, and I heard the insurance division was moving in, which is good. I signed up for years ago knowing that I had a bank there. I worry because I did some research. I know who owns the property there. It's not Valley Bank. It's an LLC. I'll just leave it at that. I knew who the owners are of the LLC, and hopefully they, smart business move by them when Oratani was sold. I just hope it's not the future site for building, because then I don't know what would go there, apartments or something, and so my neighbors on Viola Terrace are concerned about that as well. So those really aren't questions. I just wanted to echo those two things about the dialogue. Thank you again, and the bank. It's not a small thing, but most of us in this town are affected about the airplane noise. And I know Woodcliff Lake did something. They put a monitor up on one of their municipal building, and this has been going on for years. I kind of was involved with Mayor Sopwith years ago on a committee with people from Montvale, and I get it. It's hard. We're right in the direct path, but just hoping if anybody here is involved with that, just seeing what's going on to possibly divert the path, because it goes right over my house. I'm sure it goes over everybody's house. It's 3 direct paths that go in around. If you watch them, one comes from the west, one comes from the east, and one comes straight over. So I just wondered if you guys are looking into that. And then I don't have my glasses on. The administrator, I hope you guys are all involved with that. It's a very important role. Just hopefully maybe you reach out to other towns for a little advice, maybe, or go to the League of Municipality. But that's an important role. So that's really all I have. So that's really no questions.
You can
other than
stay.
the airplane.
You could stay up. now. I know everyone, we're going to get used to it. I know you're ready to sit down. That's okay. You can stay up. So on the airplane noise, I know that there was, like you had talked about Woodcliff Lake. Is there a joint effort?
There is a joint effort among the Pascack Valley mayors and those towns that are affected by it more than others. They do have quarterly meetings that are held via Zoom. A bunch of us mayors do attend. Woodcliff Lake, I don't know how they got first on the list to get this portable noise sensor, but they got it. But we're hoping that, once the message is received from that sensor at Woodcliff Lake, that this body, I forget, I think it's TANIC, I forget what each letter stands for.
Right.
But we're hoping that they will see how it's impacting all of our towns and do something about it. In the meetings, none of us are happy with the answers we get, to be honest with you. They have to educate the pilots to use this Route 17 approach, but there's so many different variables that the pilots can take into effect, weather conditions, things like that.
Yeah.
And so, we attend the meetings. We're trying to get a seat on that TANIC board also, because right now, when it was established, it was only established for towns within a 5-mile radius of the airport. We're making the case that the noises now have gone further out than 5 miles. And so the Pascack Valley Mayors Association has asked for 1 seat on the board among all 10 towns that belong to the association.
Yeah,
So it's active, but where it's going to end, Joe, I honestly don't know.
I got you.
Yeah.
And leaving, just 2 questions. I echo everybody. The planning board and zoning board, I was part of the planning board years back, as a liaison. They really should be here. Planning board members, it's not that hard for them to come in. Zoom is a little tough, and they should be here. They're volunteers. I get it. These meetings really don't take that long, and they really should be here. And as I'll leave you, thank you. It looks like the corner is getting updated. I read, finally. It looks
The
like
intersection corner?
Yes.
Yeah.
that's great. It's been since 2007, so it's been a long time.
I know you know it as well as
That's
anyone
great.
else.
And will we get a traffic light in at 168 now? Because that's going to help too.
I'm attending a meeting on that tomorrow.
Great. So I
Awesome.
can ask. Thank you.
Thank you.
Desiree, may I ask you a question, just so the public knows?
Yes.
With the change, is it a 5-minute running clock, or are you pausing while we answer, or I think the public should know that.
Steve, Councilman Casio, how was it done previously to, you said 2017, they did it that way as well, right?
Well, if we go back, my first night on the council, we ran a later council meeting than we had the other night, okay? Because it was a
one in the morning.
VFW situation,
Okay.
correct, Ken? And Ken says, this never happens. Well, now it's happened twice in 13 years. We were very liberal with it, and the reason why we put the 5-minute limitation in was because it was starting to go over. And that's just a guideline from the ALCU, right? So you can go, it's however, you feel.
I worry with that because I don't want the council to take up 4 minutes
Yeah,
explaining,
right.
and then they still didn't get their 5
Probably
minutes.
a stop would be good when,
All right.
when you're answering. That would probably be appropriate. But again, that's your call. So, I think if you're just fair and
All right,
I think you'll be okay. It
I'm
doesn't have
gonna
be a
try to
hard
do the
rule.
stop. I'm gonna try to do the stop and go. When we answer, I'll try to stop. I'm not gonna ask the clerk to do it because she's got enough going on. What's that?
I'll try.
You have another hand?
Listen, you multitask here,
All right. Okay, I'll try to help. So I think it's important to get your 5 minutes, and then our answers don't impact you, because that would frustrate me if I was a resident speaking and you were taking a long-winded explanation, which I could easily do. Is there anyone else that would like to answer on the dais, any of the questions or any comments? If not, is there anyone else that would like to come up from? Ladies first, sorry. Come on up. Uh-huh. Thank you.
Rose Candiletti, 46 Hemlock Drive. At the last meeting, I know Stacy's not here tonight, but Stacy made a comment to me and we couldn't respond back about me not being happy with her communication with me. And then she quoted that she tried to contact me.
Desiree,
and she
can you ask for us to put the microphone back down?
Down to you.
Thank you.
and contacted Bob to get together and all. But my point is that we weren't contacted prior to the second resolution being voted on to purchase the property. Whereas I'm sorry,
That's okay.
at the Sherry Field, the township residents and Westwood residents were contacted prior to them making their decision. So that was my point 2 weeks ago on the property.
Is there a question in there?
No,
Okay, 'cause
I just
I was gonna
just
say-
wanted to, I know Stacy's not here tonight.
Okay, okay.
But then there was the thing that Stacy and Daisy said that they wanted to do a poll for the police station or the DPW after purchasing this property. And my point that night also was, you didn't take a poll when you were making your decision on Cherry Field. So why do you need a poll now? You've had so many people coming, and they're from different parts of town, not only us and neighboring towns, that are so against purchasing this and against the DPW. So what more do you need at this point? I mean, you have to make a decision here. I mean, especially now we're finding out all this other stuff. So, and I do believe that all the residents should be informed. I do believe there should be transparency. You know, but this should be done before you make these decisions and resolutions that you can't go back on. So, I've stated many times that this project was handled improperly from the beginning, from not contacting us to not doing your full due diligence. And there are still studies that were never done, including traffic, before you can go ahead with the purchase. This administration is not protecting the residents by not looking into all the results that come back in these studies. You were elected to look into and resolve these issues when they arise and not wait for the residents to bring it to your attention. It took a resident to point out the property scan issue when all of you had access to this information weeks before us. The questions I've been asking are questions you should all have asked and received answers to before buying this property. And I know you haven't fully bought it yet, and that's going to be what you said. But before making that second resolution to buy it, you should have known more information on this property. I mean, I would, as a person buying property, I'd do that. A few meetings back, when the second option came up for the police to go there, most residents preferred the police over the DPW at that location. And most of you were saying that you had to wait for the cost to come in to make your decision to purchase or not to purchase. You all said that if there was a cheaper or alternative way to accommodate the DPW, which there is, that you would vote to back out of the purchase of this property. It came down to Desiree, Daisy, and Stacy at that point on whether to purchase this property for the police. Everyone got the cost information, and I have to commend you, Desiree, because as you seemed so determined to buy this property before the costs and other details came out. So I truly want to thank you, as you were the only one of the three that held true to your word about weighing the costs and alternatives and not spending all this money at this time. The town has now done 3 environmental studies and spent over $22,000 to do so. Now the third study came back with more issues with the property, and the new cost will be $12,000 to $17,000, the next stage of the investigation. And then it could be a lot more if they find anything. My one question is, how much more taxpayers' money will you be willing to spend on this property? My second question is, now that you all have received more than enough information on the costs and the environmental issues that exist on this property, will the town back out of the purchase for 95 Linwood Avenue? And the third question is,
30 seconds.
there was a question that I had that no one ever answered me back from March as well. Maybe Mr. Pohl, I was going to ask Mr. Tovo, but Mr. Pohl, maybe you can answer for me. Do you have to remove the resolution that was passed for purchasing this property for the DPW at 95 Linwood Avenue in order to put the police station at that location? And if so, do you need to do that resolution prior to closing on the property?
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
No problem. So who wants to answer? I think in the future, what we should do is ask, I know we're just getting used to this now, so you're already prepared. But I think just moving forward, we'll ask the question, stop the clock, try to answer it, ask
Okay.
the next question. That's what I
I
think.
don't think it's a good idea.
But that's a dialogue.
All right, then,
You know what I mean?
then you're
Like,
gonna
that's
go, then you go 5 minutes.
But that's what I'm saying. We're gonna try to
All right.
stop it here because I don't see the difference with what we're doing right now. So that was just my point. All right. Some of those questions were, first of all, how much money, what I heard, what resonated with me, what's probably most important to me. You asked how much money are we willing to spend of the residents on
Just
this
to-
property just to figure out that we're either not gonna buy it or buy it. I can only say for me, I'm not looking to spend any more money on finding out. I don't know if anyone else wants to chime into that and answer that question. If anyone's,
I'm done.
May I?
yes.
Okay.
He said he's done. Oh, he said, may I?
No, I was just asking if I could
Yeah.
respond. I'm sorry about that. For myself, I don't have a hard and fast amount that I would spend. There will become a tipping point, but I can't put a firm dollar value on that right now for myself. I think it's something, again, that we should research in our town. It is, I consider, a somewhat unique piece of property that is available, that, another one like it will not come available for many years. I don't have a crystal ball, so, that's just my own guess on that. I still think one of the, something should go there. As I've always said, I think between police and DPW, they've outgrown this location and to offer services to the residents that we can't even offer now, never mind 20, 30 years in the future. So that's kind of a long-winded question, a long-winded answer to your question of how much more. I don't have a firm dollar value right now for those reasons.
Is there anyone on this side of the dais that wants?
Yes. I mean, there's no denying that I want that property for the DPW. I've always said from the beginning, that's perfect spot. I did vote to have the next study done. And I spent last 2 days reading the study with multiple questions coming up. I looked past the study and I'm looking at the rates that are going up, what the feds have just did. And I looked at the rates of selling a home in this town or buying a home in this town. Go from 3% to 6%. I am at a point now, and I will not make my decision because I have a couple of questions I need to ask another professional about bond rates, on how is that going to affect us and what is it going to increase. I will tell you that I will make a clear decision to this community. I have only listened to township residents. My notes are only with township residents because that's who I'm responsible for. All right?
Okay.
I get offended when Paramus council people come to this meeting and try and tell us what to do. I listen to what the people are saying, pros and cons, the people that want it to be moved there and the people that don't want it to move there. And that's a decision, a clear decision, but for me to make that, I needed to see what this last study came out. So at the next meeting, when we do come up with a meeting, I will have a clear vote, Council President.
Okay,
All right?
thank you.
Thank you.
It's a very honest answer.
Yes.
Thank you, appreciate that. Okay.
Mayor? So I see that in closed sessions, 95 million was added. So I do have some questions regarding how much money it's going to take. But that's something I need to ask in detail in closed session.
Which will happen tonight.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
So I just need more information, answers to my question.
All right. Does anyone else have any questions or comments?
And just the last question, Mr. Polk, about that resolution.
Well, no, the answer is you don't need another resolution.
Do you have to remove the other one?
No, because it wasn't just to buy a DPW, it was acquisition for public purpose, including a DPW. So if they wanted to put a
a police station there. The bond ordinance is written to accommodate that, not that it was written to accommodate it, but it is written in such a fashion that it will accommodate it. So that part of it is not, doesn't have to be changed. However, tonight is an important closed session because, and you got the report, I think, the same day that I got the report, you got the report. I made sure that it went to you. And there were some, important issues to discuss tonight. I'm sure you can appreciate there's a balance between transparency and legal rights, negotiations, implications, things of that nature. And this is definitely in that sphere. So I'm going to have to stay away from having too much dialogue about, what's in store or what there is, because I really have to talk to the council at length about where things are.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to catch Council Vice President Feeney up. We've suspended the current process that we do open meeting. I'm sorry, the public portion, sorry. We're doing a dialogue right now. And it's going to be a 5-minute, stop and go. They get to speak for 5 minutes. They could speak for 2, ask a question, we stop it, let them speak again, and then stop it. And we're going to try that moving forward and see how that works.
Okay, and I apologize for being late. I had a family emergency, so please pardon my lateness.
Do I have to say, let the record that she's here?
You should, I have a problem, you can say.
Okay. Let the record reflect Council Vice President Feeney is present. Okay. Is there anyone else that would like to come up? Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Come on up.
Thank you, Madam President. Fred Getz, 587 Washington Avenue. I was watching at home, and if I missed anything, I apologize if I'm asking it twice because I didn't catch the whole thing. But I did come down to commend you on suspending the rules and opening up a dialogue. I think it makes a huge difference. I know it's going to take some balancing, working it out. We have done it over the past many years, different ways. But again, thank you for taking that step. I think it's important to the residents. And as Ms. Osmond said, she would have been done and gotten her answers to her question last week if it was like that. So thank you for that. Secondly, I hadn't planned on speaking on it, but on my way over here, it's always been a pet peeve of mine on Pascack Road, right across from Memorial Field. Been asking for a street light there forever. Because people don't cross at the crosswalk. So thank you for putting in the warning signals when people are crossing. But everybody takes the shortcut right off of, I guess it's Devon Road or something right there.
Oh, okay.
And crosses, and it's impossible to see, especially at dusk. And it's a really dangerous situation. And I would implore the council and the administration to look into putting a street light there. Been asking for probably 20 years, but I don't think one's gone in yet. So again, I appreciate the steps with the warning signals there, but street light would be very helpful.
Can I ask again, just where's that crossroad?
At Memorial Field,
Yeah.
and is it?
Devon.
It is Devon.
Well, Devon's that way.
It's Elon, I think. Elon. Elon.
Oxford. Okay.
Yes, Oxford. Because you have to walk down from Oxford to get to the crosswalk and cross over, but nobody does.
Okay.
They just all jaywalk right across.
Okay, so Oxford and Pascack.
Oxford and Pascack. So I also wanted to echo the sentiments of the previous speaker with regard to the property at former Charlie Brown's. I do not think a DPW belongs there, nor do I believe that a police station belongs there. I don't think, especially in these times, that we need to be spending upwards of $10, $20 million, who knows, to make a compliant police station there. I do applaud Council President again and Dr. Cassio for standing up for the taxpayers with regard to last meeting's vote. with regard to going forward. There's no reason to go forward with that. We keep hearing that there are no other sites in town, but no one's ever talked about what sites are available. We've never heard any specific sites mentioned. I know that, as Mr. Pollard said, it is a balancing act as to what can be transparent and what must go in closed session. But I would urge the council to err on the side of transparency. We had a problem because that wasn't done with the firehouse. Are we gonna have another problem because that's not done with the acquisition of this property and possibly building a police station or a DPW or whatever? Councilman Casio had a great idea, I thought, with the community center. This town could use a community center. You did acquire another property that has space. I'm sure it would be a lot less money to build a community center with four walls and a floor than all the requirements that have to go into a police station. I also don't think.
I'm sorry, do you mean at 95?
At the swim club.
Oh, at the swim club,
or
okay.
maybe look into other available plots of land. They don't have to be that big to put a community center there.
Right, okay. I just wanted
I
to clarify.
passed on the way here, TD Bank. What about a satellite police station? They already have offices there. Instead of buy that for $1 million and you don't have to even renovate it. You got a vault for a jail cell. But it sure as hell is not $20 million. So look at the alternatives. I ask that they, look into everything because we just can't afford to spend another $10, $20 million, whatever it is, especially in this financial climate. Taxpayers just can't afford it. So again, thank you for opening everything up, and that's my comments for tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So do we put that on like the traffic study radar or a request for the
street light?
Yeah.
Or
at least-
I'll have the traffic officer look into it. Probably have to talk to the county about it since Pascack is a county road.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that they would then bring out their own traffic study?
I don't claim to know how that works, but I'll mention it and
All right.
they'll find out.
Gotta call PSC&G too.
Okay.
And
They do polls.
although I didn't hear any specific question, I would just like to point out, Fred, you didn't say 10 or 11 million. You went from 10 to 20. No one's talking about spending 20. 10 is the max.
Not yet.
I'll give you that, but yeah. But 10 versus 20 would be a huge jump.
So, and just one other clarification. I think the administration has already said that since the Green Acres money, that the swim club property is potentially going to be a community center. That was said way early on by the administration, just to clarify on that.
I will say though, I do love the idea of, there are like no regulations really other than the safety requirements when you're building a rec center. And I think that is one thing the whole dais can agree on, that we would love to see more rec centers or a rec center of our own in Washington Township. So I think that's simplistic, sure, but I think it's accurate. It takes 4 walls and carpeting and heat and AC. I know there's some safety standards, but a lot less than fire department, and we need a certificate of occupancy. I get it, but I agree that I think it's a lot less money and much, for me anyway, as a person who has a family here, a bigger impact for me. We have a police department, yes, 100%. I think that they need, a safe space to do their job. They do an amazing job here. Hands down, that we have a fantastic police department. So yes, I definitely want to see them work in a comfortable environment. Same goes for our DPW, same for our fire department, all of those services. I am a first responder family. So by no means do I mean to slight any of them. But I feel like one of the things we are lacking is obviously our fields need some serious love. And our kids need a space to go to and have a rec center and blow off steam in a safe environment so that they're not putting graffiti on the library and finding themselves bored and setting fires and stuff. So I think that is a priority. It is one of the things that when I was considering coming on council, I felt that it was important to me, and that was something I really wanted to move forward. And I kept saying that is one thing before I do get off this train here that I'm on, that I would love to see come to fruition, is more a rec center. And I know that Council Vice President Feeney felt the same way at the time, to really put a rec center together, with the dog park. I know that was Dr. Cassio's thing. So thank you for that. Simple, I said, but really, truly dead on. I'd love to see that happen, and for not a lot of money.
Okay.
All right, let's go to them.
Desiree, one thing, it's never simple.
I know.
Nothing is simple.
Hello?
Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hello? This is William Ferrara, 2556 Cleveland Avenue. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, hi. I wanted to call in because a couple of statements made tonight I wanted to pick up on. About this $13 million surplus that Mrs. Lipnick brought up at the state level. I know the governor announced that he's putting $2 billion rather, back against homestead rebates this year. And I know that part of that money, which is any money may have been borrowed from the Federal Reserve during the time of COVID, and we may end up having to pay them back. I'm not sure what the specifics are. The other thing I wanted to pick up on was, with respect to the Open Public Records Act, I think that, what they're trying to do is laudable. I don't want the clerk or any member of the staff to have to be spending hours and hours wading through old records. But I think a lot of the information is probably online. I know somebody mentioned the tax records. I think Mrs. Osmond brought that up. I can go online right now on the Bergen County tax records, go into Washington Township and see what the tax bill is and who owned the ownership history of just about any property in town. So I think a lot of it is probably available already. And I think if there was some system developed where residents are directed to online lookup of information, it would take a lot of the burden off the clerk. The other thing I wanted to do is make a comment. I think Mrs. Lipnick said that her son is the band instructor at Washington and George School. I attended my grandson's concert last week, and he's in the first grade, and he was playing he was singing, and they were playing the recorder was the first thing that they were playing, the first level instrument. And for kids that age, they're really wonderful. The thing that bothered me was, and I believe Mr. Lipnick said this, that he only has the kids in band once a week. So I'm going to go down to the school board, of which I was a member many years ago, and ask them why the band is only once a week for young kids. It takes practice if they're ever going to play an instrument with any type of competence. So that's based on what's been discussed tonight. My other concern is, based on the Pascack Press report of what may or may be in the property on Linwood Avenue, that there is some material left over that could be from the gas station that was there many years ago. And I don't know why we're proceeding with any additional studies. I think that property is now tainted. And whether we buy it or the current owner has to, somebody's got to clean it up and find out what's in there. And I'm just fearful that we'll end up going ahead and purchasing a piece of property, and the next thing you know, we're going to have a cleanup project like we had up at the town hall to clean up. And I think that was like a $400,000 number. So I'd be very cautious about why we're going forward with that project. I also have a few recommendations with respect to the swim club. I think the dog park and the bocce ball court could be put over the swim club. I think a small community center for the senior citizens could be put over there. I think you could put in a pickleball court. I think you can put in a shuffleball court. A lot can be done in 6 acres to make it a good a recreation area for members of the town. And finally, with respect to the interest rates, when the bond attorney and the finance advisor were in the meeting a week or so ago, they said that they were anticipating that rates would be the 3 to 3.5% range. That was before the Federal Reserve raised rates 0.75% last week, and announced that they're probably going to raise them 0.5% to 0.75% in July. So I'm anticipating that the bonds that you're going to float at $12,481,000 are going to be somewhere north of 4%. You floated bond anticipation notes last year for $12,481,000 at 1%. Those are the notes that are due in July. Part of those notes go back to the ordinance that Mr. Ullman brought up last week, which was 1704. That was currently balanced, still has $2,568,903. $1,959,000 of that was to build the DMV, the DPW station. We haven't built a DPW station. Why are we borrowing money, or why did we borrow money and now going to perpetuate it when we don't need it until we actually build the project? The rest of that was to extend the existing firehouse with additional bay and exhaust systems and so forth. That's not been done either. So I think that bond ordinance should be lowered by at least $2.5 million to less than $10 million. And the money that was borrowed last year, somebody should find it, because I don't know where it is. You didn't spend it, and you didn't do either one of those projects, and they should be paid to buy the bands when they come due. So, and Mrs. Morgan, I want to thank you for trying to dialogue again. Many years ago, I was a member of the Board of Education. As I said, I was the president. We did open dialogue. At times, it was very stressful, but most of the times, you had reasonably decent people who just wanted to get informed and be informed, and trying to help participation. So, thanks very much for this attempt. Bye bye now.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ferrara. Thank you very much for your comments.
So I just had one thing. You mentioned the report that we all received. So I'm doing a little research on my own. So I was wondering if there was anything additional, Mr. Poller, about the ground. Do they do ground penetrating?
Okay, hold it. Please do not discuss this until we have closed session.
Okay, fine. Okay, sorry, I didn't know that. Okay.
Mayor? Yes, of course. In terms of the swim club, when the mayor posted on his Facebook page the announcement of closing the swim club, closing on the swim club, he received a bunch of different responses when he solicited ideas for it. So I think it would be a pretty good idea to create some kind of advisory committee that includes some of the residents to get their ideas on potential use for that space, like pickleball, the swim club, dog park, bocce court, all those. That way the residents can see what they want there, see their vision come to fruition. So just my 2 cents in terms of kind of creating a committee of residents for that space.
How would you go about committee selection?
I don't know. I mean, maybe we could pull from different departments, people that have, some experience, coaches, what else? Seniors, different things that different ages would like to see in the space.
Oh, okay, that's not
Parents.
Okay. That's a good idea.
Maybe
put an interest out, yeah.
Of great ideas that were on his page, on that post.
Okay, excellent.
Good idea. I'm not saying no to it, but I'm not saying yes to it, because we do have a rec advisory board. That should be part of what they do as an recreation advisory board. So in our next meeting, I will post these questions to them because they represent the community also. So that's a good start, let me say, without putting a new committee together that would just be duplicating an effort of a board we already have in place.
Understood. Okay.
The only thing on that rec advisory board is the seniors aren't part of that.
Yeah, I would look to even, there may be an open seat on the board. If there's not, I would look to maybe include one or two of the seniors from town, even if they're not official board members, but to weigh in on it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Oh, I didn't know.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to, come on up?
Good evening. Matthew D. Shore, 62 Edgewood Drive. I just want to thank Council President Morgan and Dr. Cassio for voting no on spending the additional monies, which I believe is around $17,000 for the, I believe it was the second study done by LISCO that showed that there was metal in the ground and possible tanks and pipes. I do appreciate you folks voting no on it. I've already discussed previously my displeasure with putting the DPW there, so I won't repeat that. What I did find out over the last week or so is that I checked on with Fairview about their quote unquote, their new DPW site that was talked about that we're trying to replicate. So I did is when I Googled it, I basically found that there were two addresses when I Googled it. There is there's a 723 Fairview Avenue and a 790 Fairview Avenue when I Googled it. So last Monday, I called up to Fairview DPW. And I spoke with a woman there who says that, well, the new DPW site is new. It was built in 2013. But all they're doing, that's basically an office. It does have a garage, has very limited space there for the garage. And they still have, on the industrial part of Fairview Avenue, that's where the yard is, that's where the equipment is, that's where the salt shed is, recycling is there. So they have like a two system there.
Okay.
So on Saturday, my wife and I drove to Fairview. This is what we saw. The new facility at 723 Fairview is on a commercial thoroughfare with some houses and apartments behind it. It's not 100% residential like Linwood Avenue is, okay? Across the street is a church with very limited landscaping. There's a 7-Eleven across the street and a Colombian restaurant right around the corner from it. So this is clearly in a commercial area where they put that new building up. Yes, there are houses and apartment buildings behind it and a few across the street. But again, it does not compare at all to what Linwood Avenue is, which is 100% residential. The DPW parking lot looks like it handles about 6 to 8 cars. It's kind of limited parking. The garage, what I was told on the phone, basically can handle a couple of trucks there at a time. There's a parking lot behind the DPW that looks like it's only large enough to handle 2 trucks at a time. So they really don't park vehicles there, it looks like. There was a pickup truck there, and that was really it. Here's what I did not find at their new DPW. No salt shed, no trucks, no garage trucks, no dump trucks, no front end loaders, no backhoes, no plowing equipment, no battery or oil recycling or any recycling containers at all. This is basically like an office with a garage. That's what it really looks like. It's not really a DPW facility full-fledged with all the equipment there. So it's totally different. I also did not see any residents coming there to drop anything off like they do here because there's no facility. There's no garbage truck sitting there, nothing. I also have pictures on my phone to show you that. I also would stress the residents to go on to Google Earth, look at both the street view and also the Earth, I guess it's the overview from top, I guess from a drone or a satellite, and that's what you'll see there. It's more of an office than anything else. We did drive to 790 Fairview Avenue. It's about a quarter mile away to the west. You cross over Broad Avenue, and that's where all the DPW equipment is. It's in an industrial area, no doubt about it. Industrial area, that's where they keep the trucks, the salt shed, and it looks like all the other DPW equipment is there. So they have a totally different system than what you're proposing to put at the Charlie Brown. So I want to make that clear. So I would really like, the question I'd like to ask is that the mayor and council, have you actually visited the site? Have you been there? Have you met with the people? Have you been to both locations? Because I don't understand why you would propose that here. And it seems as though the residents of Fairview were very fortunate that they did not put a full-blown DPW location in that area to bother the residents behind them. Okay, that's really more of an offense. It's not what you are proposing here. It's really apples and oranges. So I just want to bring it up. I'd like to have a response for that.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right, stop us time for a minute. Okay, so you can stay there.
Sure.
I have not visited the site. I do know the area because I grew up in Cliffside, so I do
Okay.
know what you're talking about. It actually crosses Tunnelly, right? And there's like a liquor store there, and then past that is where the big yard is, in
No,
a very industrial area. That's Fairview Ave.
Yeah, but that's all gone now. It's all different.
Okay, but it
Yeah, I don't know
still
exactly.
crosses.
I've never down that area. It's the first time I've been in
It
Fairview in
crosses
30
Tunnelly,
years.
right? It crosses the big, what used to be Broad, and it goes into
Is that-
Tunnelly.
It's broad,
So
yeah. I don't know the other
that's
end.
fully
It's broad avenue.
that's fully industrial. back
Okay,
there.
it's
Yeah.
solely industrial.
Yeah.
And that's where they have all your equipment and everything else.
And then the other part is up on the hill past the 7-Eleven?
One block.
Okay.
It's one block off there.
Okay,
And again, it's in a commercial zone. The only thing you want to call residential is some houses and apartment buildings. to be honest.
okay,
But it's really a commercial area. It's not residential.
okay. So no, I have not visited it.
Yeah. And that's on a small piece of property. I don't even know if it's even a quarter-acre lot.
Okay. I drive by there almost on a daily basis
Mhm.
because I work in North Bergen. When I proposed that, I didn't propose it as operations, but as what it looks like on the outside. When I saw it come from nothing, because like I said, I've been
Mhm.
working there for quite some time. When it first came up and I saw it as a home, I said, this home is not going to match all the surrounding homes. And then finally, when it was completed and they put up their signage and I saw that it said Fairview Department of Public Works, whatever it says, Fairview, then I was very surprised that that was being housed there. So I have not gone in, I haven't done anything like that, but I have driven around it and I saw the bays, I saw the one side, because you could also look through Google. But for the most part, my idea with that as a proposal was to copy what it looks like on the outside, to make it very homey looking, not like an industrial building.
Make it blend in.
To make it blend in with the surrounding homes. Now, to me, it almost looked like a shore house, to be quite honest, something that does not fit in Fairview. Township is residential. I mean, we don't have, aside from the shopping center, that's all we have. So it's apples and oranges. Yeah, they have the ability to house their machinery elsewhere. We don't, as it is right now. So again, my idea behind proposing that one was just for the structure to blend it in, not the operations of the facility.
Yeah, it's also, this looks like a much smaller facility than what's being proposed.
Yes.
It doesn't look as tall as the one you're proposing. Because you have a mezzanine in this one that you're proposing. So you're looking at 2 stories plus with a mezzanine.
Well, this one's on a
This looks
hill,
much larger.
but
than-
it's
than
hill.
what's there.
It's on a hill, so when you are from the street side looking into, I guess,
I'm
the
aware of
front
that. Yeah, I was there in the
entrance,
parking lot.
then it looks like a house. And then on the back end, it's much taller from the ground up.
Yeah, I just think to me,
It looks like a shore house. I respectfully disagree. I would live there if it was my house. I would. I think it's a pretty structure.
to me, it looks
there
like
are
an
other-
office building. It looks like a doctor's office, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe by us, maybe up this way.
Well, you want to put it here, so.
Well, I'm saying,
Yeah.
when I first proposed it, it wasn't for the operational portion of it. It was just for the aesthetics.
Yeah,
What
I'm
it
just saying
would
again,
look
they did not put a full-fledged DPW
Yes,
there. They did not do
that's
that.
true.
And then maybe we should look at getting a yard in another town perhaps. Like the Patterson Avenue area of Hillsdale, some other areas possibly in Westwood off of Carver. I don't know, just some things to look
I
at.
would leave that up to
That's what I
the
think
mayor
we're
to
looking at.
answer. I will say, the one offer that, kept being sent our way with Paramus is on a Saturday going into Paramus, it's 13 minutes without traffic. So on a Saturday, who's going to travel all the way down there in Paramus traffic? And now with the hospital and if Chick-fil-A comes, like premise is just loaded with traffic. But to answer your question, not to go off topic, that was it, not the operations. It was just to blend
Yeah,
in.
it's a
as
totally
well.
different operation you're proposing.
Yeah.
That's the point I want to bring, let the residents know as well.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, actually, I just had a response. So Fairview, I was also with the aesthetics of the Fairview building. Now, Fairview has 14,000 residents versus we have 9,000 residents. So they need probably twice the amount of equipment and with the roads they're responsible for in the hills in Fairview alone. Now, years ago, it used to be the Yankee Tower Diner where Noches de Colombia is, which is now Noches de Colombia. There also used to be 2 empty lots across the street where President Morgan was talking about. Now one's a club and the other one's the electrical supply house. So, from an aesthetics, that was my point to say, look at the Fairview building. Okay. My family's spent a lot of time in Fairview. Now, they do some work in that garage across the street. It's not just purely for offices. They do work there. Yeah. Okay. So just to be clear, but they do have 14,000 residents and we have 9,000 residents. So they need a much bigger office space because they have many more employees than we do. So it has to do with the fact that they need a big office building like that of that size and a separate location because again, Fairview doesn't have a lot of space and where the industrial is, it's hard to get property to build up and to build 2 stories to put offices upstairs is very expensive. So that was one of the, if you go back and look at the meeting minutes, that was one of the reasons why they did offices with a repair shop in that building on Fairview Avenue. And the storage is across the way down towards the turnpike. So.
Okay. Is there anyone else on the dais that would like to speak?
Yeah, a quick comment. When you reference looking at properties in other towns, again, through the Mayor's Association, I asked many times, I've stopped asking now, not just any municipal properties they own, but any private ones they know might be coming up for sale that might be suitable. None of them do. And although this hasn't come up, would we want another town's things in our town? So I wouldn't be surprised, they're not going to want our stuff in their town, especially municipality is nonprofit. So as much as I don't like giving up the rateable of Charlie Brown's, we'd be asking another town to give up a rateable. I just don't see that happening, to be honest with you.
Is there anyone else that would like to come up? You can come back up.
Marion Osmond, 960 Adams Place. Mr. Conti made a comment about Bethany. I thought Bethany did us a lot of favors. When they charge us $8,000 for wear and tear, I would like to know, what did the children do to this building that cost $8,000?
Stop right there so we can answer, because we have to get into the habit of answering and stopping. All right. I think you guys had mentioned, you and Mr. Tobo, that it was, go ahead.
The answer is unchanged from what I told Mr. Conti, is that now that the administrator's leaving, it's one of the things he turned over to me, and I've asked the purchasing agent for the town to pull what we have on it today. She told me we'd have it tomorrow to review.
Okay, well, see, Mr. Conti had all the paperwork and he showed it to me 2 weeks ago when you had a meeting, and it just says wear and tear.
That's what I was told too.
They're supposed to be doing us this great favors all the time. Now, it's only 4 or 5 weeks that the children actually have, recreation. So that's a lot of damage that they did. So maybe somebody should be watching the children better. I don't know. I don't think it should be.
Okay.
I think that there's a problem there. $8,000 is a lot of money.
Okay. Hang on.
So actually, there's not a problem with what Mr. Tovo said was that what was received from the paint to attach to the payment voucher just said wear and tear. However, the PO has an itemized list of what was damaged. That's what Mr. Tovo said, Mr. Conti. Okay, so that's Mr. Mayor. If you could obtain that, the actual PO and work orders.
That's what it's working on.
That's what I'm working on.
That should have it. It's fine. I'm just telling you what I've asked for. That's where I'm gonna leave it.
Mr. Conti had asked for all of the
I don't have what
information,
Mr. Conti
and
has.
I saw it. I saw his
I don't have
information,
it.
which is what supposedly. Okay, so I think somebody should please just try to straighten that out. That's
Yes.
all. I just think that, it's
I agree. I want to know the itemized list also.
Yes.
It's a lot.
you made a statement about recreation for the children. Well, we did, down at the swim club. there was a contract made between the swim club and the township to have a rec center down there for teenagers. Well, it didn't really work. We spent a lot of money. We got a big screen TV, pool table. We got foosball. He's shaking his head, Mr. Pollard. He knows what I'm right. We had this, but it's very difficult at certain age. Teenagers, no. They don't want to be, the place in Westwood isn't that good either because they don't want to be in a place where people are supervising them. I'm not saying they're right. And I have 16-year-old grandchildren who live in this town. And they wouldn't go to something like that if their life depended on it. It's just, maybe a middle schooler, and that's what actually goes to the one in Westwood. They're just middle schoolers.
Right, you're right.
So, it's a nice idea to have, but I'm just telling you, we spent a lot of money and a lot of time figuring out a contract. We did, now you own the place. But, it's a nice idea. And everybody has those nice ideas, but sometimes it doesn't work. And I'd like to be on a committee. I'm a senior. I'd love to be on a committee with what you do with the swim club. That was part of my life for many, many years.
Well, if we're doing a committee, I'd say you're more than welcome because I think you do have a lot of awesome ideas, as we've discussed. You come up with them, and I think
as I
they're
say,
great.
I've just been here a long time. It has nothing to do with my brand new ideas. I've been here a lot, and sometimes things that we did do and went by the wayside because of time and because of age and many other things. That's what happens in this world. It keeps going around and around. So really, that's really what I wanted to say. And thank you very much, and I appreciate the dialogue. I'm not sure all the council people are going to do well with the dialogue, but, I'm sure you will.
Thank you. Thank you.
This,
Yes, you can.
Morgan, I just want to respond. You're right, teenagers don't want to be supervised because they're teenagers.
Yeah.
But, if we do put a rec center down there, just like Westwood has, it does allow us to save some money renting the school. Like, Westwood has the basketball courts, so they're not charging for the rec fee for the use of gym time, which would save us a lot of money in the long run. So I think, yes, for maybe teenagers, but organized sports that need to be indoors, I think would be a fantastic benefit. And also for the seniors as well. Again, it doesn't have to be fancy. You need a gym basically, and maybe a room or two for meetings or whatever. But again, that would save us a lot of money in the long run. We do spend a lot of money. Our money goes from the taxpayers' wallet to the township, and then we give it to the school to use stuff anyway. So it's a roundabout way. Maybe we can, kind of limit that a little bit with use of those facilities.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
I think it just gives us more options.
Gives us a little more
Definitely
options.
Running out of space. I mean, eventually maybe having a smaller dome there that you can do outdoor stuff
yeah,
in.
again, it's just we need a box. a nice
Possibilities
box.
are endless
Yeah.
there. It's nice space to have, but nothing belongs there, in my opinion, but a rec center of some sort. Whoever the demographic is that it serves, at the end of the day, it should be a rec center. It should be enjoyed by
All.
yeah, by all, exactly. And I love the idea of a dog park. I'm so sorry for anyone who may have to listen to the dogs barking or whatever playing. We could regulate the hours of usage for that, but I think even our little fur babies need a rec place. That's just me.
We have a grant for both a bocce court and a dog park that we received, so we should definitely put that money to the swim club then.
Right. Well, all great ideas. I'd like to be more than just idea machines and actually put maybe some of the money that we were going to spend on that other property, which I'm not going to talk about, to put onto the rec center. All right. Any other, anyone else? Yes, you can come on up.
Julianne with 184 Trinity. I'm glad you're letting this happen because I really don't want to wait till next meeting. Councilman Sears, you spoke last meeting about the stream. I was there over the weekend walking with my friend. I'm glad I have the time to tell you, thank you. It is amazing what that stream looks like. I'm here almost 40 years, and I think for the first time in 40 years, it's clear water. And there had to be a tortoise. I don't even know how big this thing was.
Huge.
That was just making its way. It's beautiful. You can tell the big difference, and I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Appreciate
I
it.
really
Thank you
do.
very
It's
much.
wonderful.
The green team did a lot too.
I do have,
Thank you.
you're gonna think this is a ha-ha, maybe it is, but I never thought I'd see the day I'd be a part of cancel culture. I'm asking you a favor, and that is, when you guys present money, when this is gonna be bonded, that's gonna be bonded, can you eliminate the word only? When you say, it's only gonna raise your taxes X, it's only gonna, you take a lot of the onlys and you put it in a bag, and that bag is stuffed between local, county, state, federal. Just eliminate the word only. We get it. Just give us.
Duly noted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Is there anyone online? Anyone else like to come up? I don't think it said no, are we?
The plan is not to come back out. The plan is not to come back out.
All right, that's a little ambiguous, but, right. Yeah. Did you want to come up?
Yes.
Okay, come on up.
Mary Margaret Mia, 805 Highland Avenue, Paramus, New Jersey. Obviously, we're in New Jersey, huh? It's a little too much information. Anyway, I just want to follow up on the gentleman on the phone when he asked that you guys already bonded money for a new DPW and it hasn't been used and it's coming due. You mentioned about a 1.9 million you already bonded for a new DPW last year. I just want to follow up, like, where did that go? Or where, is it just sitting there and not being used? And
Okay. Anyone want to answer that?
I'm reasonably sure, not 100%, that back then the money was authorized to be borrowed. We have not actually borrowed it yet, but it will be borrowed in this round that the bond council spoke about at the last meeting. So it's not like we have money we're sitting on, just the authorization to borrow it was done back then.
Thank you. Any other questions? Anyone else want to come up? No? Oh, sure, come on up.
Thank you, Robert Lindsay, 114 Linwood Avenue, Paramus. At the last mayor and council meeting, the mayor made a comment about the feasibility of the police station as opposed to the DPW, and that purchasing the DPW and the bonding for that and the repairs on the existing police station, the different scenarios. I didn't see, if you did put the DPW in Washington Township and the police station, the police station at 95 Linwood, and make the renovations and use the facility for the DPW. You said there'd be a crossover with a few years down the line because you were already figuring on doing repairs to the existing police station. So my question is, you didn't have those figures, and I'd just like to know what the difference that would be if you did both projects simultaneously, or if you had done them, the proposal you have now was, I believe, $166 a year. If you had done the DPW and did the repair on the police station a few years down the road, it'd be a few years, it'd be less bonding, but then they would overlap. And do you have numbers to what that would be, in relation to the $166?
I must confess, I'm not totally understanding your question, so let me answer what I think you're asking, perhaps, and that we can have the dialogue now, so this is a good thing. No, quite all right. The price to do the DPW only at Charlie Brown's over a 30-year bond was give or take $83 a year, including the property, including the $1 million that we already have from the sale of the middle school way back when. To do the police station at Charlie Brown's and to do the DPW here in a new garage and using the police space currently as their DPW administrative and office, almost doubles that to 10 million, because two buildings, but it's not quite double because we can reuse the police space with some renovation for the DPW.
Right.
So
So what I'm asking you, if you did the DPW at 95, and then 3 years or so down the road, you do the police project, and you're bonding that, now you're
Yeah.
back to bonding both anyway, and what are you
Yeah.
talking? Maybe a couple of $1 million less than what you'd be spending anyway at that
Ooh,
point?
I think it'd be more.
Well, that's my point. That's exactly my point.
Yeah, and, okay, and what I was trying to point out, yeah,
People should know that.
now I see where you're headed, I think, and yeah, over a 30-year bond, taxpayers are paying it for 30 years. So if we don't do police now, but we do it 3-4 years down, there's a 3 or 4 year window where you're only paying the 83 as opposed to the 160, whatever it
Yeah, but
was.
after those 3 years, you're gonna be paying both anyway, and the
Correct.
difference is not
Yeah,
gonna be.
I see economies of scale of doing both now, just, because that window of 3
I
or
got
4
it now.
years,
You
how
understand
much
what I'm
does it
saying.
really mean, to the average taxpayer? I watch every dollar like everyone else, so I don't mean to minimize that, but yeah, the police, are quickly outgrowing their space. It's not up to any current police standards. And so those are all the reasons that, we presented that as option 2, as I've been calling it.
Thank you.
I hope I answered your question.
You did.
Okay.
And the last thing is, being a business owner, I have purchased properties where there were environmental issues involved. I've had to remove tanks off of my current commercial building in Saddlebrook. And the testing was ongoing. We did two different test periods before we located and had to have the removal. This was when I was purchasing the property prior to me putting any money down. I made the decision, I wanted the property, and I overpaid for the property to get out of having to do any of the mediation. I put it on the existing owner, and I can tell you, you're doing all these tests. If you get to tanks, this budget's gonna go blow up on what you're spending now. It's not gonna be anywhere near 20,000 or 25,000. You can see very easily, if those have been leaking in the ground for 60, 70, probably 80 years, you're looking at 100,000 and up, most likely. And I just want you guys to be aware that, Mr. Sears said he wanted to make a decision based on the numbers, but I have personal experience with this, and, I bought $20,000 over market value to put towards the remediation, whether they needed it or not. Hey, if you don't need it, you made 20,000 more. That project at that time, that was 26 years ago, was 55,000. So just want you to keep that in mind. Thank you.
Thank you. Any response from anyone? If not, motion to close?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Can you do a 5 minute? Okay. All right, we're gonna take a 5-minute recess.
Yeah.
And come back in 5 minutes. So 9:35 in real time, 9:35. We'll be back. Okay, we're back. Okay, we have adoption, second reading, ordinance number 22-11. An ordinance of the Township of Washington, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, amending and supplementing Chapter 580 zoning to establish conditional use standards for places of worship. Okay, resolution number 22-267, authorizing second reading and opening of public hearing for ordinance 22-11. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, discussion?
Oh, wait.
I'm sorry,
You opened the
roll
pu-
call,
yeah.
roll call, right? Oh, no.
Discussion on opening to the public.
Right? Isn't that what it says?
Resolution.
Opening of
Just
public
opening,
hearing.
yeah.
Public hearing.
So
No need
motion.
discussion.
Okay, so motion?
So moved.
Second.
You have
Okay.
a Councilman Cassio, motion, Councilman Sears, second, motion, roll call.
Okay, roll call, yeah.
Councilman Cassio.
Yes.
Councilwoman Feeney.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Council President Morgan.
Yes,
Motion opening public hearing.
This is it. That
this
was
is
it.
open.
That was the
It's
Oh,
open.
that was, I thought that was a resolution.
No, it's a resolution opening it up
Okay,
to the
all right.
public.
All right, so I think you can, if there's nobody here, then you close it.
Okay. Okay.
Motion to close.
Yeah, you have anyone on Zoom?
Hold on.
Is there anyone?
You have one, but I don't know if she's there for this, so let's find out.
Oh, I see, there's a resolution, second reading and open.
Yeah.
I had a question. Andrea DeShora, 552 Hickory Street, Township of Washington. I'm still a little confused regarding the situation with the possible environmental issues on the property on Linwood Avenue. So I guess I'd like some clarification.
I'm so sorry, Mrs. DeShora, that was in open public comment. This is on the ordinance number 22-11.
Oh, okay.
That, the public comment portion has closed. If you would like to email, or what your question was that you just wanted some clarification?
Yes, I wanted clarification regarding the environmental, possible environmental issues on that Linwood Ave property. I'm confused as to, with the contract that that you have, is there any provision made regarding the environmental and who's to pay for it? Should it be, I heard the last gentleman speaking about possible costs to remediate. What is the exact?
I don't want to cut you off. I was going to say, if you had some questions, if it was a quick question, I could just try to email you the answer, because that's not that public session has closed.
Oh, okay.
I'm so sorry. All right.
Sorry, I'm trying to get my phone here. Okay.
All right.
All right, so you want me to email you that question in other words?
Yes, if you could just email me, and then I'll get that answer for you and email it back. Only because that session's closed, but I do want, I do know you have a question. I don't want to leave you out there. So.
All right, I'll email that to you in the morning then. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so motion to close then, since there's no one here.
So second.
Sue, roll call? Okay.
I'm sorry, who motioned?
Mr. Sears.
Thank you. And second?
I did.
Thank you, I'm sorry. Councilman Cassio.
Yes.
Councilwoman Feeney. Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Council President Morgan.
Yes.
Okay, so, Council President, if I can jump in here before any motion to adopt the ordinance, just to go over a couple of things.
Sure.
Okay, so, you all got a report from the planning board, with regard to their review of the ordinance. Zoning ordinances, have to go to the planning board for their review and recommendations. And then they give, their comments, and their comments are in this report. Now, you don't have to take the comments and make the changes that they've recommended, but you do have to take a vote as to generally the reasons why you would not follow the recommendations. If you're going to make the recommendations, then you really can't adopt the ordinance tonight because you're gonna have to spend some time with the planner, taking a look at these suggested changes and if they're needed and warranted, et cetera, et cetera. So it's either, and the third alternative is to put your reasons of not making the changes tonight, adopting the ordinance as is, and then still sending it down to the planner for recommendations on the changes. And if the changes are warranted, then you could always amend it. That's the third alternative to doing that. So I hope I thoroughly.
Yes, so I will motion, I vote for the third option. Sure.
So if we adopt it and send it to the planner for review to make changes, we have to go through the whole process again, right, of having a public hearing or no?
Well, you would have to have a public hearing on the changes.
Okay, that's all I wanted.
Yes. Yes.
So I think we enact the ordinance now and amend it when we're able to review the recommendations with the planner.
Okay, so if you're gonna do that, then you have to have reasons why, or at least state your reason why, in your discussion, you're not making the changes and you're not. One reason obviously could be that these recommendations are recommendations that a planner would have comment on, and so it might be the more prudent approach to get that input before making the change, because the change he might recommend could be the same, it could be similar, it could be not to do it for some reason. So I think that there should be a little discussion and then a vote. If you're not going to make the changes and you want to go ahead, take a vote, has to be recorded, and then you could then make a motion to adopt it. I hope you understand what I'm saying.
Well, I mean,
Yes.
another reason is based on section
I'm
3.
sorry, Council Vice President, your mic is off.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
The other reason could be like section 3 has some good observations, and I think we could adopt it and add that in after the planner reviews it based on other regulations in the town, like for the rentals. So I think that's why we could adopt it and then have them look at it for that piece.
So I mean, what you're saying basically is that it's worthwhile the reason that you're not doing it is that you should get some input from the.
No, I would like to adopt and then get some
That's
input
what
from the
I'm
planner.
saying.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Okay.
saying that.
Sorry, I didn't hear. I'm
No,
sorry.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, I don't
You're
think
saying
that-
the same thing in different ways, it
Yeah.
sounds like.
I'm sorry. It's very hard to talk with this.
It was a bizarre little world there for me.
Welcome to my world.
Yes. 5 minutes up yet or no?
I'd motion we adopt and then recommend. Council President Morgan said.
Okay, so take a vote on any other comments?
Are there any? Councilman Casio, you have any?
No, I think we should adopt and then modify if need be.
Okay.
After the planner gets his input.
Yeah.
I think we're all on the same page.
All right, so make a motion on that.
So, what were you gonna say something?
Move to adopt.
Motion to.
Motion to enact the ordinance.
No, it's a motion to defer making the changes for the reasons expressed in your discussion
Okay.
first.
Motion to
motion.
whatever Ken said.
I'll make that exact motion, yes.
That's exactly, I'll second that.
Hold on a second, but you guys come back here for me now.
Okay, do you need those
Yes,
exact words?
motion to defer making the changes.
Pending the input from the planner
Correct.
to analyze the
Recommendations.
import of the recommendations.
Thank you very much.
That's the motion, yes.
Sorry. And I'll second that. Excellent motion.
Okay, so Stacy will motion and Council President Morgan will second. Okay, I think we're ready. Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Sears?
Yes.
Council Vice President Feeney?
Yes,
Sorry about that.
that's all right, no worries.
Councilwoman Velez?
Yes.
Council President Morgan?
Yes. Motion to adopt ordinance number 22-11 at second reading by title.
So moved.
Second.
Sue, roll call.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilwoman Feeney?
Yes.
Councilman Sears?
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez?
Yes.
Council President Morgan?
Yes.
And I will send this down to the planner and request that he review this and get back to us on the recommendations of the planning board.
Okay, now I'm freezing. Okay. Thank you. Following items have been determined to have unanimous consent of council and will be enacted in one motion. Should any item require independent consideration, any council member may have such item removed from the consent agenda. Does anyone have any resolution to be removed from consent agenda for discussion? I do have one. I'd like to remove resolution number 22-274. That's the only one I have. Does anyone else have any?
I just have one question about the consumption licenses in general as a whole, and then we could just do it all. Is it anything to do with outside, if they want to have outside, or is it only for inside? So they're not renewing that for outside, or it's separate application?
That we did do, I believe, November of this year.
Okay, so it's not, they're not
Yeah, no.
putting it out there again. Okay,
Correct.
I'm
This is
good.
their actual license to sell out.
That's what, okay.
Okay.
Council President, if I can ask the clerk, is that the only liquor license we have out? Retail consumption license? I
What are you
mean,
talking about? You have one for Bacardi Grill, you have one for Doghouse, and you have one for Seasons.
And Township Liquor.
Right, well, the retail distribution is the liquors, and then you've got the club license for the Columbia Club.
Right.
Okay. For some reason, I thought, never mind.
Okay, that's our entire.
There's three different
So
types.
is those we don't know
That's the
about?
thing. There's consumption, retail, and club.
We are missing a couple because they are inactive and they
Uh,
they
Yeah.
have not gotten approval for their
That's what I was asking.
Yes.
Okay.
And Councilman Cassio, did you have something you wanted pulled?
Yeah, I just wanted to discuss 275 and 269.
Let's see if I was reminded. Okay. Okay. Resolution number 22-268, authorized payment of bills, June 3rd, 2022 to June 15th, 2022. Resolution number 22-270, authorized refund of 2022 summer rec Tomahawk Lake Water Park registration fee, Michelle Bell, in the amount not to exceed $50. Resolution number 22-271, authorized refund of 2022 summer recreation Tomahawk Lake Water Park registration fee, Stacy Feintuck, in the amount not to exceed $50. Resolution number 22-272, authorized refund of 2022 summer camp recreation fees, Cindy Rega, in the amount not to exceed $735. Resolution number 22-273, authorized treasurer to refund balance of engineering escrow monies, block 2406, lot 94, 348 Coolidge Avenue, in the amount not to exceed $1,961.25. Resolution number 22-276, authorized renewal of plenary retail consumption license for Island Way. Is that treating us? Is that what that is?
Yes.
Bacardi Grill, year 2022-2023. Resolution number 22-277, authorized renewal of plenary retail consumption license for Amy LLC, Doghouse Saloon and Grill, year 2022-2023. Resolution number 22-278, authorized renewal of plenary retail consumption license for TJG Inc., Seasons Catering, year 2022-2023. Resolution number 22-279, authorized renewal of plenary detail distribution license for Township Liquors, year 2022-2023. Resolution number 22-280, authorized renewal of club license for Washington Township Columbian Club, year 2022-2023. Motion to approve consent agenda?
So moved.
Second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so we're gonna go back to resolution number 22-269, appointment of tax assessor Sarah E. Holbig, CTA.
Yeah, just some questions. This person experienced before in a town our size?
She's the tax assessor for the borough of Westwood
Westwood?
and Englewood Cliffs.
Just to clarify, it's the same one we did last meeting.
Yeah.
Her resume was there, but we
Yeah.
did not put the ending date of the term, and so it got kicked back to us.
Okay, no problem. That's all.
Okay. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Cassio.
Yes.
Councilwoman Feeney?
Yes.
Councilman Sears?
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez?
Yes.
Council President Morgan?
Yes. Resolution number 22-274, authorized resolution calling for review and reform of Oprah. That was me. Per the discussion we had, are we ready to authorize this resolution? Is this something that we needed more discussion? We're going to table it. So we're going to go with the recommendations that were in what came from the,
League of Municipalities.
Yes,
Yeah, I think that yeah.
absolutely.
okay. So,
I make a motion to accept.
I'll second.
okay, Sue, roll call?
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilwoman Feeney?
Yes.
Councilman Sears?
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez?
Yes.
Council President Morgan?
No. Resolution number 22-275, authorized submission and execution of grant application with the NJDOT for improvements to Beach Street project.
Yeah, the question is this grant because it's a fire access road? And how are we getting it just for Beach Street? I'm assuming that's what it is.
If you're asking me, Steve, unfortunately, I cannot answer that right now.
Okay. I mean, I'll take the money.
Right. I'd be happy to get you an answer, but I just.
Again, I'm assuming that's why we're doing it.
Right.
Because that's it. And I just wanted to clarify that's the reason why, not because me and Tom live on Beach. Right? So.
I can tell you that was not part of the application.
Okay, I just want to know. Just want to know. But you know, someone will say, yeah, don't you live there? So anyway, you know what'll happen, Tom? What'll happen. But I think that's probably the reason, just like we had Hudson Avenue done, you know? Right. So if you get clarification on that, that would be great.
So are we tabling that?
No, I'll go for it. It's a grant. We need the bill. I'll motion.
I'll second the
Yeah, I
motion.
thought there was.
I'll motion.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, motion. Oh, yeah, roll call, I'm sorry.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilwoman Feeney?
Yes.
Councilman Sears?
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez?
Yes.
Council President Morgan?
Yes. Okay. Those were all of them, I believe. So we're gonna adjourn to conference agenda. Can I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
How long do we usually give the planner to review? Just out of curiosity.
Well, it depends on how complicated things are.
Yeah.
You know, some things are, if you remember, he was the one who drafted this ordinance. So
Okay. Okay. I got it. Just curious.
Yeah, I did. It's okay. Here it is. Okay. That's all right. Mr. Mayor, do you have the project tracker report that normally the administrator has?
It was, I don't believe it got updated from the last meeting when we carried everything over from conference. Happy to, fill you in on what I can.
Okay.
Intersection was brought up tonight that they hope to start work next month. They've awarded the bid, and as a matter of fact, just want to make sure, I met with Boswell Engineering this morning on many different topics, and they're on board to meet with the county for a pre-con meeting on the intersection.
That's great news.
Yep, the 2022 road program, they did confirm for me this morning that is still the bid receive date. Ladder truck, the delivery is imminent, I would say within the next 30 days. Garbage truck, really nothing to report new. It's still just stuck in supply chain issues. I'll just skip over some quickly that have been on here for a while. Yeah, the backhoe has been ordered, salt spreaders ordered. The ESB exhaust system is now complete, installed in the building. The ESB building, there's a meeting tomorrow where they will give us an update on the move-in date. Hopefully it will be soon. Library renovations have been on here for a while. Stormwater, flagpoles ordered as part of capital. Drainage repairs, Boswell is receiving quotes. They told me that this morning. Field signs have been ordered. I don't believe a scoreboard has been ordered just yet. Building control system, I'll be following up with Ryan on that just to see where they stand. Paving of the county roads, still waiting on the ADA curb cut from the county. Boswell gave it to them late last year, according to them in this morning's meeting. And nothing changed on the Lake Association project. So if anyone has any other specific questions, I'll answer them as best I can.
Okay, I have a couple.
Question?
Can I? Okay.
I'm sorry. And I don't know, and I don't want to put the mayor on the spot, but I believe.
If I can't answer, I'll tell you I can't answer, so no worries, Tom.
The council president asked that the stormwater drains be put on the tracker, and I don't see it on the tracker, Mr. Tovo. We're talking about the.
You mean cleaning of storm drains and things like that?
Right.
Yeah, the basin clean out.
Okay,
I see the stormwater system here. but
right.
He was supposed to get us the schedule and post it on the tracker for the.
Okay, I will get that on for the next one.
Thank you.
Sure thing.
Thank you. That's, I was gonna bring that up.
I think we need to add to it, even with the sewer grate covers, they have very small holes. And what's happening is the amount of leaves and the water coming down, I received some pictures over the weekend from the storm from, I believe, I can't remember which area it was.
Last week.
Yeah, yes. That what's happening is the students are out. Number one, people's newspapers are ending up and it's covering the holes in the back of the grate. And the leaves or leftover landscaping cuttings are covering up the grate. And what I'm noticing is that a few of the residents are saying it's because the curb cut is so short now. Is that it's never happened in the umpteen, 20 plus 30 years they've lived there. And because the water is not getting to the sewer fast enough, it's coming over, they're on a hilly, it's coming over their lawn, down into the neighbor below them, and so on and so forth. Particularly residents over by George School and down above Colonial, not on Colonial, but some residents over there. And they've all said the same thing. I think we have to get somebody to review the storm drain covers. I know that there's new safety guidelines that somebody can't go in or, but I think that what we got with the curb, with the amount of macadam on the curbs, on the streets and the curb cut, it's not enough depth.
It's, if I may,
Yeah.
it's not so much a safety thing, and you catch yourself wrapping around, is that they don't want all those leaves and debris going into the stormwater system. So that's why by design and by law, we have to now use those with the smaller openings. But it does require now more work on the DPW's part to go out more frequently and make sure they're clear. And, with the storms we're having, with our manpower, they're doing the best they can. It's not 100%, but they're doing what they can. We might have to think about that in next year's budget if this keeps happening, to allocate another person who almost does that full time and drives around town.
I would be in full support because it's about 6 senior citizens on different streets who sent me pictures of them taking shifts to make sure that the sewer grate was not.
Getting clogged even during storms.
And then they sent me the water rushing over from the neighbor above, over through her garden, down her driveway.
Right.
And then hitting the storm drain, but the force is so, and it's not all the time. And but she said it's the majority of them have a really hard rain or a mini storm or
It's like many things in government. You fix one problem and you create another problem. And so what did you really do in the end? To me, there has to be a balance. We're affecting homeowners and their properties and like that. I understand we have to keep the stormwater things clear and like that. But like I said, it's.
The DPW has been great because two or three of those residents, the DPW drove out and put sandbags in, so the water didn't go into their garage or
Okay.
basement.
Mm-hmm.
So I applaud them for doing that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because, and then it was a good temporary solution, but I think we have to work towards, and if it's another person in the DPW, because I don't think we really want our seniors out there cleaning the tops of sewer grates in the middle of the storm, right? You don't
Absolutely.
want to see anybody get hurt.
Yeah. And that's why it's important. And we try every year to get at least the 4 street sweepings in also. But due to various things, they don't always happen. But I'm more mindful of it, because we're hearing more and more of this happening.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, my question was sort of on the same vein that you mentioned in the project tracker about the field signs and the scoreboard.
Mhm.
I just was curious, and I haven't been down there in a while because my girls don't play on that field anymore, but I know Gardner had some dugout issues and they weren't fixed. There was something waiting for a permit or something was going on a while back that just, it never.
Unfortunately, I'm drawing a blank right now on that. If you can get me more information on.
Do you remember?
There were 2 new dugouts that were being
Right.
built that he stopped for the winter,
Yeah.
and then I believe he completed them. They're all
They're
Right.
Finished, yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking something more recent. Yeah.
No, that
Oh,
was-
yes, they are done. They were done.
That's why I said I haven't
I
been
want
down
to say 4
there.
to 6 weeks ago, they are completed.
No, the dugouts look great.
Yeah.
They do. The dugouts look great.
I think we should paint the bus stops the same color.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to
I
take
think
a
we
tour
should
down
get, I
there,
think
yeah.
we should get one of those fathead things that with the township logo and put it on the back of the dugout. I'm serious. Why not?
It's kind of funny.
Well, I mean, that's what it's called, isn't it? That big
Council,
I mean,
Vice President and Councilman Sears, you both have your mics off.
oh, mine's not.
Because it sounds like it is, WCTV.
Yours, you
Let
don't
me
need
see.
You need to lean into the.
Well, that one's on. No, we don't need 2 on.
You're supposed to have 2 on. Just
Right.
telling you. I don't know.
All
We'll
right.
keep the, well,
Let's keep it
WCTV
moving.
is the boss, not me.
All right, so we're gonna move to ordinances and legislation. Draft ordinance review amending requirements that building numbers be affixed to all structures in the Township of Washington. Mr. Paul,
Well, I sent that to you last time.
Oh,
You
yes,
have it.
yes, we
I
do.
made the changes, and I thought it was, adequately addressed what you were
Yes,
concerned about.
I looked it
Yeah,
over and
yeah.
I was totally fine with it. I think it's great.
Yep.
I know we didn't get to this at the last meeting, so it's a carryover from,
Right.
yeah.
So if everybody agrees, then you can just put it off as your document for the next meeting.
Okay. so-
I just have one question. It says that it says all exterior lighting except that required for security shall be turned off between 10 PM and 6 AM. This is gonna be, this might be a stupid question, but what about like solar lights and things like that? Is that gonna cause a violation to a resident?
Solar lights are not lighting up the building.
No, but I mean, like if we
No.
go, okay. Just, if we go, there seems to be a lot of stuff going in that direction.
Dusk to dawn lights is what we're talking about. That's,
Uh,
is that what you're talking about, Ms. Feeney? Or no?
Yes, that's what it would fall
Okay.
under that category. The solar lights only, they're on when the sun goes down. So yeah, dusk to dawn. That's what I'm thinking. That's what it falls under.
No, I mean lights that absorb the sun to power themselves at night.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, you can't, okay, so then there's no, okay, so then miscellaneous, the hedgerow bushes at Horses Square.
Desiree, before you move on, can I just have a question on ordinance and legislation?
Sure.
Even though it's not on here, I think it may have fallen off. I think the council was going to do something with the sign ordinance to relax a little bit what happened in the shopping center, but I haven't seen it on recently. But every time I walk into one of the smaller stores in the shopping center, they're asking me, when can we put stuff on our windows? When can we put stuff on our windows? So I would like to put that back on the council's radar, please.
Yeah, I had asked, it was that we agreed to, the council, we had agreed to like 33.3% of the windows, depending upon the size.
All right, well, whatever, if you can just put it on for next agenda or something to start the dialogue on it again.
Okay.
Thank you.
And you have the
Oh,
The draft
remember that.
ordinance to have it brought, okay.
Oh, yes.
Actually, I have the recommendations for Ken. I'll send them to you.
Okay.
That's good.
Hedgerow bushes at 464 Ridgewood Boulevard North, that's me. Having visited the site, this is the swim club. Hang on a second. Okay, that's for WCT. Having visited the site, I know that some of the residents had come out when they saw me there and wanted to show me, their view of what they can see from their backyards when they're having barbecues, they have family over, etc. So I think if we are currently and without a stop date, putting furniture, putting equipment, thank you, within their view in the backyard. I mean, literally in the backyard. If you walk the site, you'll see. I think it may benefit the residents. It may, make them feel a little bit better if we do plant some hedgerows back there. And I think it just adds to the quality of life for them. They, again, the argument can be made. They did not purchase their property with the idea that we were going to have storage parking lot back there. It is supposed to be for rec purposes. And I think, to be fair, hedgerow is something, it's something that I think we could agree on, but by all means up for discussion.
I haven't been up there to see what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I did ride by, but I didn't see like a tremendous.
We're talking about swim club?
Yeah, the swim club.
You have to walk it,
Where
really.
specifically, Desiree, are you talking where the equipment is being stored now, the DPW
Yeah,
equipment?
in that area, yeah.
You want to do like the three sides or?
I think we need to.
I mean, I know we're not going to do the Parkway side, so that's why I didn't say
Correct.
four
Right,
sides.
Right, no.
Mhm.
Right, I think, obviously it would require us, or not us, but somebody going up there, a landscape architect, whatever we have, green team, whomever. I'm not sure who this responsibility would fall on, except it's an idea that I would like to explore. There is the property line for the houses. Then there's like, 10, 20 feet maybe. Then there's the swim club. Somewhere in between there, I don't know if it's at the end of the property line, we put the hedgerow or butt up against the fence. I'm not sure where it belongs, where it can be put legally or where it best benefits the resident. But yes, to your.
Can I maybe meet you there sometimes? Because I think a picture is going to be worth
Yes.
1,000 words.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will meet each of you there separately to kind of give you, that's the night that I told you I got all the mosquito bites from the wet dam, which by the way, also there's areas back there, speaking on the hedgerow vein, there's areas back there that I think are ours that really are supposed to be cleaned up. There's a fence that's broken now, leaning down where you can get back there.
All right, let's take a look when we're
Perfect.
out looking at all this.
Okay, great. All right, and if anyone else would like to come.
No, I see what you're talking about, because I think we had plans of doing something back in there last time we met, but that was like last year.
Okay,
Hmm.
great. I think anything that we can do to improve the, whether it's temporary that they're seeing that or, whatever, but I think that,
Well, hedge is gonna take years to grow, Jolly Green Giants probably could put a nice set of row there, they'll probably grow
they're faster.
a foot and a half in a year.
Right.
Just whatever is decided,
But,
as long as it kind of fits into.
well, that's the whole, we gotta fit the
Right, the
whole
long-term
plan.
plan, I
Yeah,
agree.
right, so we don't want to invest and
So,
have.
yeah, I mean,
No, definitely, absolutely. Which is why I said there's a fence that needs to be repaired, so I'm not sure where the hedgerow should best be, rooted. But it would 100% be a
It
long-term.
carries over
Right, it carries
to
over.
Right.
Or if we can do, fencing screen, like the greenery screening, if there was hedgerow doesn't fit into long-term plans.
that's what I thought we talked about, if you remember, we were gonna put
Greening
that
screening.
green fence up with that thing, so
Yeah.
it blocked the trucks.
What does that look like?
And the DPW, at a minimum, is getting a price on putting a fence going across the parking
Right.
lot. So where the people would look from their backyards, they're not going to see equipment, they'll at least see, because we can't put hedges across the parking lot. So at a minimum, they're already working on getting a price to screen that with a piece of fencing. But again,
And is that fencing temporary?
no,
No?
no, it will be permanent.
Okay.
And the greenscape fencing is basically like, you know, the greenery you put up.
Yeah, it will really look like green trees going
It feeds
across
through,
that.
but I mean, if a fence looks nice, depending on the fence.
Yeah.
Right, it's really depending on the fence, but if you can make it a green space and it kind of blends into the landscape, I think that would be a nice.
Then you would
Well, it's
get
not-
you would get
it's-
your 6 feet or 7 feet, whatever you want, right
It's not
away.
cheap. That stuff's not cheap right now, so we should get
What
prices. The green.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I don't know.
Or if hedgerows are better, I mean, it really depends, that's what we have to just have more of a, brainstorm
Put in your
session.
long-term plan
there.
to see what we're gonna do
Well,
up
what
there.
if-
Yeah.
Okay,
We're being.
I'll meet you up there.
We're being good neighbors to the people behind the firehouse right now. We'll be good neighbors if anything happens at 95 Linwood. We'll be good neighbors to the swim club people also, so,
Excellent.
yeah.
Great. What was your question?
The fencing, if it's permanent, then how would that work into the long-term plan? Does that mean, what does that mean?
I only say permanent because fence by its nature is permanent unless it's a temporary construction fence or something, but, we would do it. I'm not saying it would stay there permanently, but it would be permanently in the ground and that.
Yeah, I just don't want, when I hear fencing, I think construction fencing, because I don't want
Yeah,
to
no,
create
no.
one eyesore.
Yeah, no, it's not construction fencing we're thinking of.
Yeah.
All right. So I will, before we leave tonight, each of you guys, I can schedule like a walking tour with, I think it was eye-opening for me. I knew it was back there, but it wasn't until I went with like a questioning attitude, what can we do back here, that I really started seeing something needed to be done. So that's all I ask, is that you have an open mind. All right. Resolution number 22-281, litigation property acquisition, 450 Pascack Road, property acquisition contract negotiations, 95 Linwood Ave. Motion to enter into closed session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Council will not reconvene? Okay, we will not reconvene to the public. The next meeting for Township Council will be Monday, July 11th, beginning at 7:30 PM. Motion to, we did that already, right?
So moved.